your standard sort of paper thin revenge flick, but with interesting twists. John Wick. This is my first time attempting to use my laptop for this, so we will see how it turns out. So I've heard about John Wick for years. There's 3 of them. I understand there's a 4th one coming out, and I had not bothered to watch them. As much as I love sort of the standard revenge flick with violence, you got to be in the right mood for it, and you have to be usually in the right mood for the very paper-thin plot. John Wick, however, really surprised me. It takes the usual revenge flick storyline and gives it a twist. And the twist being that it isn't his wife or an immediate loved one that is murdered by the bad guys. Rather, he's a former sort of bad guy, gets out of the business because he's in love. His wife dies of natural causes of cancer, bequeaths him a dog as a gift to be something to love while he's healing. And bad guys randomly, not looking for John Wick, find John Wick to steal his car. They kill his puppy, the thing that he has left of his wife, and then he goes on his violent revenge spree. Now, I was so fascinated with this movie that I looked up some details of it, and I had heard from others that Keanu Reeves really did a good job of researching combat and more real-life sort of scenarios so that things happen in these action sequences. It's as if he intentionally wanted it to not be The Matrix or something like it. He's not doing outrageously superhero type activities. They are far beyond my capacity, don't get me wrong, and there's plenty of graphic assistance in making some of these scenes with the explosions and other things. But the fact that they run out of ammunition occasionally, they have to reload, even in the sort of expected action sequences, they get your attention in a way that other times you might drift off in other movies because it's done so well, because they did such a good job of making it plausible. And really, the whole storyline with the dog, with the wife who passed away, everything about it feels unique and interesting, and then it delivers on all of those action tropes that you expect, but you look for them being done in a good way, and that's where you have, badass lines delivered by bad guys and good guys alike, people having conversations about what's happening and about John Wick, about he killed 3 men in a bar with a pencil, and all of the actors, all the writing, the direction, like everything, those scenes are just nailed. They're nailed in a way that you feel the gravitas of it, or you feel the slight dark humor in it. You feel the desire for John Wick to get his revenge. You're able to enjoy that along with him, as well as sharing his suffering. And all in all, it really, wow. I mean, it ends up being at its time one of the best examples ever made of that sort of action, adventure, revenge flicks. It was a wonderful movie. And then I started watching John Wick 2. I guess I will finish watching John Wick 2 at some point today, but everything about that, it didn't carry the same gravitas. The first few minutes, it kind of ties into the first one directly. And you're like, oh, okay, so there was another relative of the Russian, and oh, well, there was his car, and it's like tying up loose ends, and you almost expect there's going to be another couple of hours of his revenge against this group of people, and you're wondering how that's going to go. Will it be as engaging as the first one? And then it quickly descends into him being pulled back into the old life, and with outstanding marker ode to an Italian, and it continues to be a quality sort of action movie. But what made the paper thin plot really interesting in the first one, that interesting twist, is sort of gone, and with the second one, we get a bunch of new characters that aren't tied into the death of the dog. You don't really enjoy seeing anybody die so far the way you did that guy that killed his dog and the guy that stole his car in the first one. And the addition of other characters feels like it's moving slightly in a woke direction when you start adding the rapper Common and Ruby Rose of Batwoman infamy. And I don't know, they haven't really talked about anything woke, but it seems like the movie is definitely intended to be a more diverse version of the first one, which on its own is not bad, but again, so far I feel like the paper thin plot is just too paper thin, and it does not capture the gravitas of the first one, having people repeat lines like the story about three men in a bar with a pencil, and it's good, but it just doesn't have the gravitas it does the first time you hear it, and the first time it's being delivered when it was delivered so well. So we'll see where we go from here by the time I plug my way through the second one, whether I bother with any more or not. But it reminds me so far of Highlander. That first Highlander movie was amazing. Everything was amazing about it. And the ones that came after were up and down and up and down. It's like, wow, what a legend it would have been if they'd have left it alone. But of course, there's always the quest to do more, the quest for more money, more merchandising, more sales. And so it makes it difficult. But like a painting, Highlander should have been a single work of art. And I'm getting the feeling that John Wick, the way it opened, the way it closed strong. He adopted another dog. John Wick really needed to just end with that first one instead of continuing to milk it. So that's my view so far on John Wick, and hope you all have a blessed day, and we will see you again soon.